Unsolved Murders Mysteries. It's the curious details of a murder case that transfix true crime obsessives. Some have elements that are particularly violent, bloody, gruesome, and unsettling. Worse, some slaying remain unsolved, meaning that the perpetrator disappeared into the night after the deed was finished. From the infamous Black Dahlia murder case to America's Jack the Ripper, from The Lady of the Dunes and Bella in the Wych Elm to the brutal yogurt shop slayings in Austin, Texas, here's our list of top 10 unsolved murders mysteries we can't stop talking about. 10. Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer transfixed the nation throughout the late 1960s and 1970s, due both to the brutality of his crimes and the way in which he toyed with authorities and the media. He sent numerous letters and cryptograms to the press, daring the public to crack his puzzles and catch him. Of the encrypted messages, just one was deciphered, by a history professor and his wife. Chillingly, it revealed that the Zodiac killed in order to collect slaves for his afterlife. The Zodiac Killer claimed responsibility for 37 murders. However, investigators agree on only 7 confirmed attacks, a cab driver and 3 different sets of male-female couples. Of the 7 attacks, 2 men survived, bringing the Zodiac's official body count to 5. 9. The mystifying case of the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short, more famously known as the Black Dahlia, was found murdered in Los Angeles, California. Because of the grisly nature of her case, which included her corpse being mutilated and severed from the waist, it gained rapid national attention. The details surrounding Short's life are largely unknown. It's believed she was an aspiring actress. The case is one commonly cited as being one of Los Angeles County's most famous unsolved murders, and had been the source of countless books and films. 8. Who put Bella in the Wych Elm? On April 18, 1943, 4 local boys went poaching in Hagley Wood when they came across the large wych elm. One climbed to the top, looked into the hollow trunk and discovered a skull. He quickly realized he had discovered a human skull. Because they were on the land illegally, the boys decided not to report it. Out of guilt, the youngest of the boys eventually caved, and told his parents what they found. When the police checked the tree, they discovered an almost complete skeleton with a shoe, gold wedding ring and fragmented clothing. The remains of a hand were found a distance from the tree. The remains were deemed to have been of a 35-year-old woman, dead for 18 months, placing the time of death in October 1941. The forensic examiner found taffeta in her mouth which suggested she died of suffocation. Because the country was in the midst of World War II, identifying the body proved difficult. Somewhere along the way, the autopsy report and the remains of Bella disappeared, adding yet another dimension of mystery to the case. 7. The Smiley Face Killer. Is there a serial killer stalking college-aged man? The FBI insists no one is drowning inebriated college males and leaving behind a painted smiley face where he dumps the bodies. But no matter how many times officials try to squelch the theory, the rumor of the smiley face killer will not die. And the bodies keep cropping up. The theory originated with 2 New York City police detectives, Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte. They concluded that the deaths of at least 45 young men by drowning have too many similarities to be unrelated. Although the theory began in connection with bodies found in New York City, it spread to include murder cases from the Midwest. In at least a dozen cases, a painted smiley face was found near a body of water where a victim's corpse was dumped. 6. The Seal Chart Murder. On the morning of August 24, 1908, Caroline Mary Leward said goodbye to her husband as he left for a hunting trip. When Major General Charles Leward returned home, he found his wife shot and killed. Their home was an isolated summer house in a heavily wooded area of England. Authorities were never able to hammer down who the killer was, but it was rumored that John Dickman, who was later hung for murdering a passenger on a train in 1910, could have been involved in her death. Caroline's desolate husband later committed suicide. 5. The brutal Austin yogurt shop murders of 1991. In the early 1990s Austin, Texas was shell-shocked by a tragic, vicious crime. Late on December 6, 1991, firefighters responded to reports of smoke rising from the I Can't Believe It's Yogurt shop on West Anderson Lane. Once inside, the responders found a scene of unmitigated horror. Amidst the inferno were the brutalized bodies of 4 teenage girls: Amy Ayres, Jennifer Harbison, Sarah Harbison and Eliza Thomas. At least one of the girls had been raped. 3 were stacked atop each other like cordwood, and all had been bound with their own clothing before being shot in the head with a .22 caliber handgun. It was a murder that could appall even the most hardened homicide detective. 4. Lady of the Dunes. She was found on July 26, 1974, lying face down on a beach towel in the dunes near Provincetown, Massachusetts. Her hands were missing and her head had been crushed, possibly with some sort of military entrenching tool. With no clear way to identify her, the victim soon became known as the Lady of the Dunes. Who she is, why she was slain, and who ended her life are all mysteries that remain unsolved to this day. 3. The Grimes Sisters. On the night of December 27, 1956, Barbara and Patricia Grimes attended a showing of Elvis Presley's Love Me Tender. The young teens were due home at midnight but never arrived. At 2:15 a.m., their mother reported them missing. The case of these girls would become the largest missing persons investigation Chicago had ever seen. Their bodies were found on January 22, though there were numerous reported sightings of the two. Despite the fact that the investigation quickly centered around one suspect, there was never enough evidence to convict him. 2. The unsolved killing of Georgette Bauerdorf. Georgette Bauerdorf was the daughter of an oil tycoon and lived a life of privilege. Her future looked bright. But darkness descended on the night October 11, 1944. By the following morning, the young woman was dead, the victim of a murder. To this day, Georgette's case remains unsolved. 1. The Villisca Axe Murders. Even today, police know very little about these 8 gruesome deaths, despite the movie and immense amount of gossip that their murders inspired. During the evening of June 9, 1912 in Villisca, Iowa, 6 members of the Moore family and 2 house guests were found murdered in the Moore home. All 8 victims, including 6 children, had suffered from severe head wounds from an axe. The axe had belonged to the family and was left in the guest bedroom after the deed was done. The investigation for this case got further than most on this list. Several suspects were processed and many went to trial, one even went twice. The first trial ended in a split jury while the second netted the suspect in acquittal. The Moores were well known and well liked in their community. The motive and the case remain a mystery. Thanks for watching the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do and click the like button, I would really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.